What is up, everybody? Thank you for joining me for yet another Marvel character deep dive. If it's anything like the Gilgamesh deep dive that I previously did, this video here on YouTube will probably only get like 100 views, while the Instagram reel that I post will get thousands. But it's fine. I'm not mad. I'm not salty. If you are watching this on YouTube, first of all, God bless you. Second of all, if you can give this video a like, that would be very helpful in possibly getting this video more views, which I am in desperate need of. Thank you in advance. Also, before we begin, I want to remind everyone that I am not, nor do I claim to be, an expert in the comic book realm. With that said, if I happen to get anything wrong, please let me know. Drop a comment, educate me, let's have a dialogue. Or you can just call me a dumbass. That's cool too. So last time we talked about Gilgamesh, who a lot of people were unaware of as far as him being a character in the Marvel Comics universe. This time we'll be discussing an even more obscure character, Captain Assyria. You heard right, people. We all know about Captain America, and you might have even heard about Captain Britain. But hidden deep inside a random set of comics is our man of the hour, Captain Assyria. That random series of comics is The New Warriors. Specifically, it's this one, and the series is a three-parter called Forever Yesterday. Those series hit the shelves 30 years ago in 1991. To give everyone a brief synopsis, it's not going to be brief. I'm going to tell you right now. It might not be possible to keep it brief because it gets a little wild. It's very complicated, but I will do my best to keep it concise. Forever Yesterday takes place in what is essentially a time paradox or alternate reality. The story itself centers around a hero named Nova, who is actually a part of the New Warriors, but it opens up with him fighting alongside who would appear to be the Avengers. But when you take a closer look, you quickly realize these are not the Avengers that we know and love. They're like a bizarro world version of the Avengers with some twists, and some of them are subtle twists, some of them not so subtle, but we'll get into that. The team consists of, like I said, Nova, who is the primary character throughout the entire story. Instead of Thor, the Norse god of thunder, you have Horus, the Egyptian god of war. We got Storm from the X-Men, and it's weird that she's there, which I'll explain that in a little bit as well. We have someone named Scepter. I made sure that I'm gonna double check right now just to make sure I'm not botching this. I'm pretty sure they refer to her as Scepter. Yep, here it is. They call her Septre, actually. S-C-E-P-T-R-E. I want to make sure because, let me tell you, Scepter is actually Monica Rambeau, who is also called Spectrum, but I guess this is her first appearance, so like, they've reworked her since. Anyway, instead of Iron Man, we have, well, he's still Iron Man, but he's black. And then there's our man of the hour, Captain Assyria, who is also black. I could stop there, I could, but I'll keep going. Honestly, all of that is just the tip of the bizarre iceberg. I am going to attempt to walk you through an abridged version of the insanity that is Forever Yesterday. Strap in, people, because it's going to get very weird. Let's do this. You see, it's explained that in this story, there is an alternate reality or an alternate timeline. And this timeline was birthed during the time of ancient Egypt, specifically during the time of Moses. It is explained to Nova by a character named Sage, who is, as he puts it, the embodiment of truth, that Moses is bested by the Pharaoh's wizard. The Pharaoh's wizard in this alternate timeline had superior magic and beat Moses. So in this one, they both turn their staffs into snakes, but the Pharaoh's wizard's snake eats Moses's snake, which like throws off Moses and leads to him getting like stabbed in the back by a guard, and Moses just dies. And from then on, the alternate timeline is created. This wizard goes on to become the Pharaoh's like right-hand man. Together, they pretty much dominate the world. During this time, a peasant woman finds a legendary artifact called the Ka Stone, which she gives to the wizard. And this stone turns the wizard into the character that is known in the comics as the Sphinx. The Sphinx is a Marvel villain with the ability to create alternate realities or to alter reality. So the wizard who is now the Sphinx, marries the peasant woman, and together they continue to advise the pharaoh. Why the Sphinx with all this power didn't just make himself the pharaoh? Your guess is as good as mine. But I digress. Somehow all of this leads to the discovery of the New World, which we in this universe, we call it the United States of America. But here it's deemed, ready for this? The United States of Assyria. Hey, we made it, guys! Hold on. Before you get too excited. This US of Assyria is a strange place because its customs, its clothing, its language, they're all Egyptian. Even their ruler is still essentially the pharaoh and the wizard. I mean, I guess that explains the presence of Horus instead of Thor, but why? Why is it Egyptian but called Assyria? I don't know. In this newly created United States of Assyria, white people are actually the people who are brought over and enslaved and then eventually are set free due to like abolition and the civil rights movement. Again, why are white people in this position in a place called the United States of Assyria? I don't know. This weird version of Earth eventually has its first world war, which becomes too much of the leaders of Egypt to handle. So they go and ask the US of Assyria for help. This alliance ends the war, but the Sphinx is like stressed out about it or something, and he and his wife end up moving to the United States of Assyria. 20 years later, World War II starts, and just like Captain America, Captain Assyria first appears. Shortly after that, the enemies of Egypt and the United States of Assyria developed the first nuclear bomb, and they dropped that thing on the city of Memphis, Egypt. The Sphinx uses his power to protect the city, but everything around it is decimated and pretty much becomes like a wasteland. So now the Sphinx is like, screw this, I'm over it, I don't want to be here anymore. And bam, he rips off the Ka-stone from his head and he slaps it onto his wife's head. And just like that, he's dead, and she is now the new Sphinx. How's everybody doing? I know, trust me, it's a lot. All right, let's continue. So now the Sphinx is running the show, but she's got more things to worry about. Apparently, like, this is the time where a lot of superheroes and superhumans, supervillains, whatever you want to call them, they start hitting the scene. And that includes the mutants. Because of this, she eventually drafts her own team of superpowered people. This team becomes the Defenders of the United States of Assyria, and that team is this world's version of the Avengers that I described earlier in the video. So now we have this new modern day where white people, or pink skins as they're referred to in the story, are still like the minority in the world, or in the United States of Assyria at least. But not more of a minority than the mutants, who are regularly like targeted down and captured or killed by the forces of the US of Assyria. They're essentially criminals, and they never really explain why. It just opens up with there's a mutant rebellion, and every mutant that's caught by the Avengers is arrested, and if they don't comply, they are murdered on the scene. I'm dead serious. Like, the first page is the Avengers trying to take down this peaceful group of mutants, and they almost succeed in doing so until Wolverine comes out of nowhere and starts kicking their ass, only to be brutally murdered by Horus. I'm serious. In the first like 2 or 3 pages, they kill the shit out of Wolverine. His sacrifice allows the mutant group to escape, and they get back to their base, where their leader, Magneto, is concocting some big plan. So this new Sphinx catches wind of his plan, and she's like, hell no, I can't let this happen. And she sends all of her forces, including like S.H.I.E.L.D. and her Avengers, and she's like, you need to stop this mutant rebellion at all costs. Meanwhile, Nova, who is like the newest recruit in this Avengers team, he starts learning the truth from Sage, and he starts to slowly turn sides. He's already pissed during this whole thing because he feels bad about hunting down the mutants, and he also doesn't feel like the team likes him. He feels like they're actually prejudiced against him because they're all black. Literally, the entire Avengers team is black, except for Nova, so he's like, oh, they don't like me because I'm white. At some point, he starts helping the mutant rebellion, and this pisses off the Avengers, as you can probably assume. But his powers helps turn the tide, and eventually the mutant rebellion get the upper hand over the Avengers. So now the new Sphinx is like, no! And she unleashes all her power at once, and she's like, you know what? Now everybody dies. So this huge battle ensues between the Sphinx with her Avengers versus all the mutants and like all these other random heroes, including the Hulk, Vision, Fantastic Four, they're also black in this story. I just thought I'd mention that. This book was race swapping before race swapping was a thing. So way ahead of its time. Towards the end, Nova links up with this, in this story, this new hero named Night Thrasher, who I think is, if he's not the leader of the New Warriors in a lot of the issues, he's at the very least a primary character. I don't know. If you guys know about the New Warriors, and just tell me there. Night Thrasher somehow finds out that they can get the Sphinx to surrender by threatening to kill her pet cat. They explain that her cat is like the symbol of her love for her husband, you know, the wizard that died like some time back. And it's the last thing that she has that's, you know, has a connection to him. So Nova straight up grabs this cat and he's like, bitch, I will snap his neck if you don't correct the timelines. And that's when Sage, aka the embodiment of truth, if you forgot, he comes out and he's like, you must embrace the truth, Sphinx. So she does. She just sort of gives up and she takes her cat in her arms and has a sudden realization about how messed up everything is because of her. So just like that, she corrects the timelines and she disappears, but not before telling the New Warriors that she'll be back to whoop them in the future. And then, like I said, she just disappears into the void. The end. So anyway, back to Captain Assyria. Not really sure what else I can say about him other than, what was Stan Lee thinking? I have no idea. I mean, I usually love the guy and I love his work, but he really lost his mind with this one. Nothing, like absolutely nothing about Captain Assyria makes sense. Right away, what I thought was, like, with the way the story was written, wouldn't it make sense to call him Captain Egypt? And to be fair, Captain Assyria has his moments. Like, he has moments where he's trying to convince the mutants to, like, help their cause in creating some order in the world. And he makes it clear that he's just loyally serving his country, similar to Captain America. But in the end, he is a villain in the story. You know, I hate to be pessimistic, but it feels like the whole idea to make the United States of Assyria and Captain Assyria these antagonistic forces, it kind of felt like a slap in the face, to be honest. I mean, at one point, Captain Assyria literally mentions in passing that there was another member of their team that was called the Assyrian Eagle. And this mysterious Assyrian Eagle was killed off by the Mutant Rebellion. I don't know if the Assyrian Eagle is in reference to Lamassu, or here, I looked it up, or if it's supposed to be a reference to Nisroch, who is an ancient Assyrian god that is often depicted as having an eagle head and a human body. Either way, it's like, yeah, they're dead. Screw them. Mr. Stan Lee, should I even bother giving this Assyrian eagle a design? Nah, we're just gonna kill him off and have Captain Assyria say his name. I don't know what else to say. That's pretty much it. That's Captain Assyria. When I learned there was a Captain Assyria, I was so excited, you have no idea. And then I finally got my hands on like the books that he's in, and I just started reading them, and immediately I was let down. You're 0 for 2, Marvel, 0 for 2. And guys, I have 2 more characters that I want to do deep dives on that are like Assyrian related, and they're not much better than this. There is actually less material. Captain Assyria is in 3 issues, and he's barely in those 3 issues. And these 2 other characters have less material to reference than that. I'm probably gonna combine those 2 in a single video, because they are not able to stand on their own, but we'll see. Until then, I would like to remind you, you can always cop yourself some apparel that features the true Captain Assyria, aka Ashur, from Divinity Activewear. There's Ashur, there's Ishtar, there's Lamassu, there's Gilgamesh. And I'll probably add a 5th design next year. And if you're watching this in August of 2021, guess what? You can save 20%. All you gotta do is use the promo code 2YEARS at checkout, and just like that, you'll save 20% off anything in the store. Thank you to everyone who made it this far in the video. If you did and you enjoyed it, please remember to hit the like button down below, subscribe if you have not already, and share this video with a friend if you have someone in mind who might be interested. Until next time, everybody, remember to stay safe, stay positive, and most importantly, stay sexy. Later, y'all. What is this? What is this?